You know what's funny, Zach? When people talk about changing their life, they always imagine something dramatic, like starting a business, moving abroad, or winning the lottery. But honestly, for a lot of people I know, life didn't change overnight. It changed quietly, the moment their English got better.
Yeah, I feel that. It's never some movie-style transformation. No fireworks, no background music, just small moments stacking up. Like one day, you suddenly realize, wait, I can actually understand this email. And from that point on, nothing feels the same again.
Exactly. I still remember my first job interview in English. I was shaking like a leaf. My grammar wasn't perfect, my accent was all over the place, but somehow I survived it. And when I got the offer, I thought, wow, English literally just opened a door I didn't even know existed.
That's such a real feeling, and people underestimate how powerful that door is. Let's be honest, two people can do the same job, sit at the same desk, have the same skills. One speaks English, the other doesn't. Guess who gets paid more?
Oh, 100%. No debate there. I've seen it happen so many times. Same position, accountant, sales executive, customer support. If you can communicate in English, especially in a foreign company, your salary can easily be 1.5 times, sometimes double. And it's not because you're smarter, it's because you're more useful in a global environment.
That's the key word, useful. Companies don't pay for effort, they pay for value. If you can talk to international clients, read reports, join global meetings without a translator, you suddenly become someone they can't easily replace.
And that's when your career stops feeling fragile. You're no longer thinking, what if I lose this job? Instead, you start thinking, if this doesn't work out, I can find another one. That mindset shift alone is life-changing.
True. It's like going from survival mode to growth mode. When you don't know English, you're always playing defense. You avoid emails, you dodge meetings, you hope nobody asks you to present anything. But once your English improves, you start showing up differently.
You sit up straighter, you speak up more. Even if you're not fluent, the fact that you try already earns respect. People notice confidence before they notice mistakes.
Absolutely. Confidence is contagious. I used to rely on Google Translate for everything, emails, documents, even short messages. And it was exhausting. I felt slow, behind, like I was always one step late to the conversation.
Same here. And let's be real, Google Translate can help, but it can't think for you. When you finally read an email and understand it instantly without copying and pasting anything, that moment hits different.
It really does. You feel independent, and that independence changes how your boss sees you too. Suddenly, you're not the local staff who needs help. You're the person who can handle international work.
And that changes your position in the team. You're invited to more meetings. You're trusted with bigger tasks. People ask for your opinion, not because your English is perfect, but because you can communicate.
Communication beats perfection every time. I always tell people, don't wait until your English is flawless. If you wait for that, you'll be waiting forever.
Exactly. English isn't about sounding like a native speaker. It's about being understood. And once you cross that line, opportunities start showing up in unexpected ways.
Like networking. That's a big one people don't talk about enough. When your English improves, your world gets bigger.
Yes, you can make friends, colleagues, even mentors from all over the world, different cultures, different mindsets, and that exposure alone can change how you think about life and work.
I once joined an online project with people from 3 different countries. If I didn't speak English, there's no way I would have been part of it. That experience taught me more than any textbook ever could have.
And it humbles you too. You realize that people everywhere are struggling, learning, growing, just like you. English becomes this bridge, not just a skill.
A bridge to confidence, income, and freedom. And speaking of income, people sometimes feel guilty wanting to learn English just to earn more money. But why? There's nothing wrong with wanting a better life.
Exactly. Wanting a higher salary doesn't make you greedy, it makes you responsible. You want to take care of yourself, your family, your future. English is simply a tool that helps you get there faster.
And it's one of the few tools that works across industries. You can be in tech, finance, marketing, education, it doesn't matter. English multiplies your options.
I love that word, multiplies, because that's exactly what it does. It doesn't replace your skills, it amplifies them.
And once you feel that amplification, you're hooked. You start enjoying the learning process, not because it's easy, but because it's meaningful.
Yeah, English stops being a school subject and starts becoming part of your life. You watch videos, listen to podcasts, laugh at jokes in English. It becomes real.
And that's when people say, wow, your English got so good. But they don't see the late nights, the awkward conversations, the mistakes, the self-doubt.
They don't see you rehearsing sentences in your head before a meeting or replaying conversations afterward thinking, I should have said that differently.
But all of that is part of the journey. And honestly, it's worth every bit of discomfort.
Because one day you look back and realize you're no longer the person who was scared to speak. You're someone who can walk into a room, join a conversation, and hold your ground.
And that confidence spills into everything else. Your work, your relationships, even how you see yourself.
So yeah, English doesn't magically fix your life, but it gives you leverage. And with leverage, change becomes possible.
And once you taste that possibility, there's no going back. You don't just learn English anymore. You use it to build a future.
You know what I keep hearing from people after conversations like this, Zach? They always say, okay, I get it, English is important, but I'm already too late. I'm lost. I don't even know where to start. And honestly, that breaks my heart a little.
Yeah, same here. But the truth is, most people who are working in English today didn't start strong either. They just started smart.
Exactly. The biggest mistake beginners make is trying to learn everything at once. Grammar, pronunciation, fancy vocabulary, IELTS level stuff. Boom, overload. And then they burn out before they even warm up.
That's why I always say, forget about sounding impressive. Focus on sounding useful, especially if your goal is to work, not to win a spelling contest.
Right. Practical English should come first. Office English, the kind of English you actually use on the job. Emails, meetings, small talk with colleagues, simple presentations. Not Shakespeare, not academic essays.
I mean, how often do you really need complex grammar at work? Most emails are straightforward. Please find attached. Let me follow up. I'll get back to you. If you master these basics, you're already ahead of so many people.
And the funny thing is, once you can handle those situations, your confidence skyrockets. You're no longer scared of your inbox. You're not sweating every time your boss says, "Can you join this call?" That's when English stops being the scary monster and becomes a tool, a screwdriver, something you just pick up and use.
So, step 1, if you're truly starting from zero, build a survival kit. Learn phrases, not rules. Learn how to introduce yourself, talk about your job, explain what you're working on, and ask for clarification.
Yes, phrases like, "Could you repeat that?" or "Just to make sure I understand." Those sentences save lives in meetings.
They really do. And once you can survive daily communication, step 2 should happen earlier than people expect. Build your CV in English.
Oh, that scares people. They're like, "My English isn't good enough yet." But that's exactly why you should do it early.
Because writing a CV in English forces you to learn relevant vocabulary, job titles, responsibilities, achievements, not random words you will never use.
And it makes your goal real. Suddenly, English isn't abstract anymore. It's connected to a job, a salary, a future version of you.
Plus, you don't have to do it alone anymore. This is where technology and honestly, AI becomes a game changer.
Absolutely. Back in the day, learning English felt lonely. Now, you've got AI tools that can help you rewrite sentences, check tone, practice conversations, even simulate interviews.
And the key is not to let AI replace your thinking, but to let it support your learning. Use it as a coach, not a crutch.
Exactly. Ask it, Is this email polite enough? Or how can I say this more professionally? Then study the answer. Steal the structure. Make it yours.
I love that. Steal the structure. Because language is patterns. Once you recognize them, everything becomes easier.
And consistency beats intensity every single time. You don't need 5 hours a day, you need 20 minutes every day.
That's such an underrated truth. Small habits, big results. Listening to a short podcast while commuting, reading one email template a day, writing 3 sentences about your work before bed.
People underestimate what compounds over time. One day feels like nothing. 3 months later, you suddenly realize you're thinking in English during meetings.
And that moment feels magical, but it's not magic, it's momentum. And here's something people rarely talk about: attitude, gratitude, kindness. These things actually matter in your career, especially when you work in a second language.
So true. When you're grateful for small progress, you don't beat yourself up for mistakes. You stay patient, you stay open.
And when you're kind to yourself and to others, you create better relationships at work. People are more willing to help you, to wait while you explain, to clarify instead of judge.
I've seen people with average English do amazingly well simply because they're respectful, hardworking, and willing to learn.
Language opens the door, but character keeps you inside the room.
I love that line. And honestly, helping others also improves your English. When you explain something, you're forced to simplify your thoughts. That's real learning.
Exactly. Teaching is learning twice. Even helping a colleague draft an email can sharpen your skills.
So if someone listening right now feels stuck, I'd say this: you don't need to be perfect to be employable. You need to be clear, consistent, and courageous enough to try.
Start messy. Start scared. Start with broken sentences. Nobody wakes up fluent one day.
But one day you do wake up employed, more confident, less afraid, and you realize that English didn't just help you get a job, it helped you become a stronger version of yourself.
And that's the real transformation. Not just income, not just titles, but growth.